Not great, I don't think. Obviously, Amir hasn't given his, but I've got mine, and Amir can just chime in. First up, Vicario. I gave him a 5. Look, I don't think he had like an awful game. I don't remember too many saves he actually had to make. A lot of the fact that Bodo didn't score was a lot to do with their bad finishing. But obviously, the second goal came from a poor kick from him, didn't it? Which led to Spence giving the ball away and whatever. A lot of people saying Vicario at the moment, is it time to give Kinski a run out? What do you think of him yesterday? And do you think maybe Kinski should get a go?
It's a tricky one. It's always very dangerous, dropping your number one guy. But Vic has made a few
Mm-hmm.
mistakes in the last few games. He's a fantastic shot stopper, but he does sometimes lack a little bit of concentration when it comes to distribution and stuff like that, which I do think in the modern game is quite important. And we know how good Kinski is with that. So I wouldn't have been against giving Kinski a run out yesterday. I think that if players aren't performing to the level you expect, there is a guy waiting in the wings there ready to go. So I think you do have to use that. It's why like yesterday, after Richie missed that chance, I would have hooked him straight away. 30 minutes, hook him, put Kudus up top, do something different. If it's not your day, and there's nothing wrong with that in football sim either. Sometimes you have off days in life. It happens. You've flown all the way to the bloody Arctic Circle. I don't know, Richie's legs, he's too cold for him there. They're not moving around. I don't know, I don't know. But I'm looking at the manager to do something with regards to that.
Yeah, the one thing I want to say about Vicario, which I think he needs to work on, which I think all top keepers do have, is his calmness and composure. I think we all love him because of his passion, right? He's always pumped up. He's always got loads of passion.
Signing blood for the club.
Yeah, signing blood. I love that.
Yeah.
But I also feel like that could be one of his big weaknesses, because I feel like he's always so amped up. He's always so ready to go. And I think it causes panic sometimes. I think sometimes he needs to calm himself down. Sometimes he needs that little bit of calmness and composure. He needs to be more controlled. Because sometimes I feel like it does lead to good stuff, like when a player sometimes goes through a one-on-one, he's on them like a flash. He's on top of them. He comes out quickly. But I also think it can lead to a bit of panic in the back line sometimes, because he's always going at like 100 miles an hour. He doesn't have an element of calmness. You look at the likes of Edison and Donnarumma and Alisson, they're very calm figures. They're guys who, when the ball comes to them, they're calm with it on the ball. There's no panic. They're very composed. And I think Vicario needs to develop that side of him. And I think sometimes he can be a bit too amped up, and that's something he needs to work on, I think, for Vicario. And
that's a good point.
So he can get that would take him, for me, from a very good keeper to joining, getting closer to one of some of the elites.
But do you not think he needs to stop making mistakes as well to get to that elite level? I mean, obviously,
I think all keepers make mistakes. First of all, I don't think Vicario makes that many, to be honest. Like, in terms of real mistakes, I don't think he's an error-prone keeper. I don't. I think he made that mistake again. No, I don't. I think he made that mistake against Brighton and against Wolves as well. But I don't think, in general, he makes loads of mistakes, especially from shot stopping. I don't think he makes tons and tons of mistakes. I don't think he's error-prone. I think it's more where his distribution's not fantastic. I think we can all agree with that, especially when he's being rushed. And I think he creates sometimes a bit too much panic in the back line. That's what I would say.
A bit of composure, and you take that 5 up to a 6 or 7.
Yeah, exactly. In the player ratings, yeah. Next up, Pedro Porro. I gave him a 5. Look, he did get an assist for the goal. Fair play to him. I did think he was very wasteful yesterday. A lot of his passes going out of play.
Very sloppy.
Very, very scrappy. Obviously, he got absolutely done for the second goal as well. The Bodo player went past him without him being there. But he did get a really good assist from Mekki van der Ven's goal, so gave him a 5.
Yeah, I agree. I'd agree with that. 5.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Kevin Danso. I gave him a 5 as well. What I'll give him credit for is he had to do a lot of blocking of shots yesterday because they were popping off a lot of shots around the penalty area, and he had to put his body on the line on more than one occasion. I thought aerially quite good. One thing I was very frustrated with, his on the ball play was not good. I thought his weight of pass sometimes is completely out of whack. I think that's something that's something I've pointed out from him ever since he's joined. And I think we really missed Romero on the ball yesterday. I think Danso was not a good replacement for him. I thought defensively good, didn't have too many problems. On the ball, though, it seems as though he's got a player right next to him and he just smacks the ball at him. Like, he's got no concept of weight of pass or how to kind of just gently get a pass to his teammate. He seems to always smack it. And there was a few passes yesterday. He went to pass it in behind to Kudus, and it went just way out of play. Like, Kudus was nowhere near it because his way of pass was completely wrong. So that is something that we missed yesterday with Romero's that passing ability.
Oh, hugely. Romero, what he offers, those long balls that he can offer over the top as well.
Yeah.
People don't realise how fantastic Christian is. They kind of tend to look at the rash side, as they say about him. But even though I think he's really improved his discipline over the last 2-3 years. I agree with that. I think Danso about a 5. He did get dragged out of position a few times yesterday, but I think in general, he doing his job defensive wise, he's been pretty good. But yeah, of course, he has elements that he needs to improve on, like the passing, of course.
Yeah. Next up, Mickey van der Ven, captain on the day. I gave him a 7. Look, got the goal. I thought he was probably our best player on the day. He got the goal, defended really well. There was one point where he threatened to kind of lose control when he, obviously VAR ruled out the goal because he pulled back the Bodo defender, which, to be honest, I thought was the right decision, unfortunately, because the player that Van der Ven pulled, he could have headed the ball clear.
He was going to get there, yeah.
He was going to get there. So, unfortunately, you have to rule out the goal.
I think that was a fair decision.
Yeah, I thought it was a fair decision. Van der Ven got all angry about it, and then a few minutes later, he went flying into a challenge, went completely over the ball, and got himself booked for it. And I think he threatened to kind of maybe lose control, but calmed himself down.
He held
himself together, got the goal, really good header himself, dragged Spurs back in the game. And I thought out of the defence, out of the team, he was the one probably showed a bit more composure, showed the most quality, and defended well on the day as well.
Yep. I'd agree with that. And I think that, if he didn't hold that guy back and we actually got that goal, maybe he would even go up to an 8, maybe.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. He was our best player on the day. Nice to see him wearing the captain's armband as well. I think he is a leader in that group.
Yeah, interesting you say that Frank confirmed yesterday he's going to be part of the leadership group. So,
fantastic.
Good decision, you think?
Oh, fantastic. Brilliant decision. And I think that Mickey, we're going to see him go from strength to strength this season. And don't be surprised if he gets more and more goals as well from these positions, because he's so good in the air.
Yeah, 100%. He's getting better in the air as well, I feel. Next up, Jed Spence. I gave him a 5. I didn't have too many problems with his performance. I don't think it was terrible. It's just, again, with Spence going forward, he offers very little because he's always cutting in on his right foot. I feel he doesn't like to get to the byline. I don't think he linked up well with Odebear. They didn't seem to have any sort of rapport because Odebear also is a player who likes to chop inside. And Spence, what I noticed yesterday is Spence liked to move inside into the centre, be a bit more inverted yesterday. And then Odebear would stay far out wide. Whereas I think Odebear, where he's at, he needs that support to drag defenders away so he can run at defenders. Whereas, you've got Kudus there. Even if you double up against Kudus, he can handle it. If you double up against Odebear, he's going to struggle. He needs that support from a fullback, I feel. Defensively, I think he was okay. But yeah, just again... I think I just prefer it when the doggy's there, to be honest. I think he offers more.
Yeah, do you think Doggy links up with Odie as well? A bit better, Odie.
He saw it against Brighton. They linked up very well.
Yeah, they did. They did. Well, Udogie as well, when he was at Udinese, he was a goal scorer. You know, he would really get in goal scoring positions as well and do really well. So I do hope we see some more combinations down that line. I think it is a fair assessment of Spence, to be honest. 5, 6.
Hmm.
Yeah, somewhere around there. You know, you expect a little bit more from Jed. Just in terms of his gameplay and output. You know, we've known him to be very good going forward, very good defensively, and not one of his best performances.
Yeah. Next up, Bentancur. I gave him a 4. He's come in for a lot of criticism in
A
this
lot of
game.
heat, yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of heat. People saying we can't play him as a 6 ahead of Palhinha in these games. He did really struggle, I have to say, on the day.
Yeah.
Was bypassed a lot. Really didn't get stuck in anywhere near enough in the middle. On
He's
the
not
ball
really a
as
six,
well.
is he? He's
Yeah,
not really a six.
on the ball, didn't offer enough as well. Kept playing it safe, never played it forward in between the lines, and yeah, I think he struggled in that position. I felt yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think Bentancur's a 6, to be honest with you, Sim. I think he's more of an 8.
Hmm.
Better in that position. When you ask him to do that kind of Paulinho role, he doesn't have that same tackling ability. He's okay tackling, but he's not Paulinho level. He's not a pitbull level 6. And I do think part of the problem, um, it's not necessarily Bentancur as a player, but it's that he's been played in the wrong positions and he's been played in the wrong midfields. Um, I do think there's a real player in there. I love Bentancur. I think he's a fantastic footballer. I just think that he's being played a little bit out of position and being used not in the correct way in the midfield so far that we've seen.
The problem is
Um,
Paulinho. He had a few injury problems last year, so can he play every game? Can we rely on him to just be that 6 in every game?
well,
He's going to have to take a rest at some point.
where's Biss?
He's not in the Champions League squad.
Why?
We left him out when there wasn't enough room.
I don't like that.
Yeah,
I
but
don't like that.
who would you have left him out for?
Odebear?
Odebear. Then who would have played in the front line yesterday? You got no Tell or Odebear.
Could have put no tell. You could have put Xavi on the left. He likes Xavi on the left. I don't know. I just think I know Biss has obviously he's had his disciplinary issues with Frank and whatever. He didn't come out to the Super Cup, but he's a fantastic 6 on his day.
Mm-hmm.
One of our best performers in some of the key games last season.
Mm.
So yeah, a lot of questions. But yeah, at 4 for Bentancur, Sim.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4, 5. Yeah.
Next up, Pape Sarr. I gave him a 4. Look, he's been good this season, but yesterday was an anonymous display, if I'm being honest. He just struggled, I felt, Pape Sarr, to get involved in the game at all. He had
Yeah.
that one shot as well, I felt, in the first half. He took a shot from like 30 yards on his left foot, which was going nowhere near. And that was one of the moments we had options going forward. That was a really poor decision. Didn't offer enough of the energy that he usually does. I don't know if he's struggling with an injury or not, but didn't quite kind of look himself yesterday.
No, he didn't look himself, and he's been fantastic this season so far. So we'll put it to an off day for Pape, who again I love him as a player. I think he's phenomenal, and he's got a really really wide skill range. He just needs to be playing. I think for me a little bit more forward with Sarr. I want to see him a little bit more towards the edge of the box a little bit more than centre circle. But yeah, I think 4 is probably. We expect so much more from Pape, So yeah, 4.
Next up, Bergvall. I gave him a 5. Yeah, look, again, him playing in the 10 struggled. I thought, look, to be fair, he did brilliantly for that chance that Rishi had right at the beginning of the game, where
Yep.
he took on a couple of players, played a beautiful outside of the boot pass to Richarlison obviously screwed up the chance. So that was a really good moment. But apart from that, don't remember too much he was able to do. Yeah, and I thought Xavi, when he came on, and didn't even do that much more, but was just a lot more involved, getting on the ball a lot more, playing some passes in around the penalty area, which Bergvall, again, was probably just stuck in his own half a bit too much.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Again, we come to expect a little bit more from Bergvall, considering what he's done over the last year and a half for us. But yeah, if Richie puts that in and he gets that assist, it goes up to a 6 or 7
Yeah,
maybe for him.
because that was a good assist. That was a good pass.
It was fantastic, and you think about the goal that could have been with Kudus, the offside one. He's a phenomenal player, Bergvall. He's going straight to the very top of football. It's just, it is finding the right attacking plays and link ups with him, and I think that will come. I think that will come in the next few months. We'll see a lot more of Bergvall assisting and scoring.
Next up, Odegaard. I gave him a 5. Look, out of all the attackers on the pitch, he probably got the most involved a bit, trying to make a few things happen, trying to do something. But unfortunately, there was very little either support and also a bit little quality from him. Hit the post late on when Kudus came on. He had that header, which hit the post, which he might feel he could have done a bit better with. I want to see a bit more from him. What I like about him compared to when I see Johnson on the left, though, is at least he protects the ball. He takes care of the ball a bit, and he doesn't just treat it like a hot potato and tries to get rid of it as soon as possible and ends up being sloppily giving it away. At least he can kind of take it into him, link up with some of his teammates. But I want to see when he gets to the final third, be a bit more direct. Cut inside and shoot, get to the byline, commit players. He's just he kind of just holds back a bit too much. I mean, but I think sometimes, I said it was a strength, for sometimes maybe he's a bit too protective of the ball. Maybe he's a bit too scared of losing it sometimes. So he's got to work on that.
Yeah, no, I think, look, Odegaard does offer something different, completely different to Brennan. It's kind of the things we've all been talking about on this stream sim. It's linking up with the right players. It's linking up with you doggies, with your Spences, with Bergvalls, playing little 1-2s, playing little triangles, getting round the corner. And I fully agree with you on taking shots. For goodness sake, Spurs, just learn from Bodo. Bloody hell, just take some shots from outside the box. Make the keeper make a save. Make him work. Maybe he's got a fly in his nose and he'll miss it. You don't know. You've got to take shots. And Odegaard, he's got a decent little peg on him. So, I do want to see more from Wilson. And I think there is a player in there. We just got to unlock it a little bit more with Wilson. And he is young again.
Yeah, he's still young. It's true.
Very young.
Brennan on the right-hand side, 4. I mean, to be honest, I think it's a generous 4. Could have been lower. He didn't do anything again. It's a classic Brennan performance on the right-hand side when he's not scoring. He offers very little. And I think yesterday was another example of that. I can't even remember off the top of my head many times he touched the ball or got involved. It was a very quiet day for him.
Shouldn't have been on the pitch for me. Should have been Kudus. But yeah, I agree with that.
You just saw the difference with Kudus when he came on.
Completely different, Sim. It's completely different. The thing with Johnson is he's so effective in certain games and certain parts of the pitch that he's almost your perfect super sub. So why not utilize him there more, and why not as well try? For me, he's not so much of a winger. He's more of a second striker kind of player. So why not try him in there? Why not see how he does? Richie was awful yesterday, so why not put Johnson up front, Kudus on the right, and then you've got to try and mix things up. You've got to try and give players opportunities to play in their right position. And I think we will get there with Brennan. Look, I'm very grateful for everything that he's done for this club. I know he drives fans mad, and myself included in that, in some of the touches that he takes and kind of wastefulness on the ball. But he is so effective in goal scoring areas, and yeah, we've got to get behind this kid. He's a youngster as well. He's only 24. I think he's one of these players that needs the fans to come around him and, give him that Johnson ole again, and that's what we're waiting to hear. And yeah, we got to try and as fans understand that he doesn't have the same quality and abilities that Momo has. It's two very different players, um, and they offer different things to the team. So let's not get on his back about the things that he can't do, and just praise the things that he can do, like putting the ball in the back of the net.
I agree, and it's a vital skill he has.
What football's all about.
Exactly. Next up, Richarlison. I gave him a 3. I mean, one of his worst displays, I would have to say. I mean, look, to be fair, I mean, look, he had the chance, which he fluffed right at the beginning of the game, then was completely anonymous for large parts. He didn't even score at the end. It was an own goal, albeit he was close to it.
He influenced it. He
influenced the goal, I guess. So he gets a bit of credit for that, but very, very... Look, it's a difficult day for him because he was very isolated and he seemed to be surrounded by 3 or 4 defenders with no support every time he got the ball. So he's not blameless, but he was just bad. I mean, there's nothing much more to say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's, people look at Free and think he was absolutely awful. Yeah, he was pretty woeful, to be honest with you. And it's not all his fault. It's also how isolated he was. But yeah, again, you're expecting your striker to always, even if he's not looking, that the ball might arrive at his feet and he's going to have a pop. So yeah, that chance was a huge miss in the game, and changed the trajectory of the game, that miss, I feel. So yeah, 3 is fair.
Next up, Xavi. He came on. I gave him a 6. Look, I thought he came on. I don't think he was set the world alight, but he just added a bit of just kind of assurance in that middle of the park, a bit of stability, just got things ticking over, some good passes, won a few free kicks, just got involved. He didn't. I don't remember too many chances he created, to be fair, or anything like that, but I thought he linked up quite well with Destiny on a couple of occasions down the left, got the ball out to Kudus quickly on occasion. Obviously, I want to see him do a bit more, but I thought he influenced the game positively.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think 6 is fair. We always look better when Xavi's on the pitch. So yeah, let's just hope he gets the nod against Leeds in the 10 as well, please.
Yeah, 100%. Next up, Mohamed Kudus. I gave him a 7. Such a big difference when he comes on. As I've said before, so reliant on him. We did a whole video on it. And look, he came on, he changed the game from his perspective. Obviously, laid it back for Porro for the opening goal, set up Odebear for a chance for the header, which he hit the post on. Was just a much more of a threat. The only downside of Kudus being so... obviously, there's a big downside of being reliant on Kudus. I mean, one of the big downsides, I would say, is that because we're so reliant on him, I feel like he feels like he has to do it all by himself, and that leads to him sometimes making bad decisions. Like he maybe doesn't pass it when he should, or he always goes for extra dribble when he doesn't need to. So that's another drawback of being so reliant on him, is that he feels that responsibility to do it all himself sometimes. But he is good enough sometimes to do that and shoulder that responsibility. I thought he came on and had a good cameo.
Yeah, really good cameo. Wish he was on the pitch from the start of the game. Yeah, you showed in the stats how reliant we are on Momo. Just hope he can open his account. I'm waiting for that first goal. I thought he saw it against Wolves, but obviously he was offside. It will come. It will come with time. What he does, on the ball is it's phenomenal. We don't have anyone in the team that can do the things that that Kudus can. So yeah, fantastic player, great signing, and yeah, just hope we get him off the mark with the when it comes to goals.
Yeah, he needs to get that first goal.
Yeah.
And then next, João Palhinha, I gave him a 6. Good cameo. Thought came on, just added that little bit of steel we needed in the middle of the park. And yeah, I thought we were just a bit nowhere, nothing in the middle until he came on, and then he just added a little bit of aggression, won the ball back, and yeah, I mean, he didn't have to do too much, but because it were 2-0 down to Bodo, were already sitting back a bit, but just got us that little bit of domination in there.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I think if we're looking for a player of the season so far, it's João.
Yeah, he's done a great job. One other player to mention, he only came on for 5 minutes, but didn't make a good impact. That's Archie Gray. I didn't give him a rating, but
Really good.
Yeah, really good impact. He obviously got the assist for the goal. Really good run. That run, by the way, is something I've seen him do a few times now since he's been on the pitch. That little run on the side of the penalty box is hard to track for opposition midfielders. So that run is good. And I thought, yeah, it had a really good cameo.
Do you think he should have started instead of Bentancur?
I mean, that's what a lot of people are saying. Potentially in hindsight, should we be giving him more minutes potentially, because he seems to be a lot more, getting. I feel like he might need to be paired with a defensive midfielder though, maybe instead of Sarr.
So what, like Leeds? Would you play Palhinha, Gray,
And Xavi.
and maybe a Bergvall, Xavi? Yeah.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
You like the setup? Yeah, I'd be down to see that, Sim. I'd be down to see that. I think Archie's a fantastic player. I think he's got a very, very bright future ahead of him. A really wide skill range, if that makes sense. The things that he can do on the ball, his passing abilities, his calmness as well in possession. Really, really brilliant. And I think for such a young guy, he's got a really, really good head on his shoulders, which is obviously super important in the modern era. So I want to see him get a lot more minutes this season, a lot more.
And lastly, Thomas Frank, I gave him a 4. Not a great day at the office for him. I thought probably got the selection wrong, I would say, given how we played. I think the setup as well. I mean, he's look. I think a lot of our struggles. I think he's got to take a bit of accountability for that. I think it wasn't a. I didn't. And look, he made the subs, change it, and we got back to 2-2. So fair play. Albeit, I even thought late in the game, I don't think we even played that well. We just found some moments to get back in the game. It wasn't like Brighton where it was inevitable. I felt it was just like we had the quality to do it. And we showed that quality, but it wasn't like I felt we were definitely getting back in this, like in terms of how we were playing. And even at 2-2, Bodo hit the bar. They had another chance. They could have made it 3-2. They looked more likely to score. So at 2-2. So not an amazing day for him, to be honest.
No, and I'd agree with the 4. I think if we don't get that equaliser, it goes down even further. But the fact that we did come away with a point does count in his favour a little bit. I just hope he can sort it out, Sim. Really, we're coming into a critical period after that international break. So I really, really hope that he can turn things around for us a little bit and start getting the best out of our attacking players, because he solidified the defense. We do look a little bit, better defensively. We take that Bodo game out of, it's a little bit different. Champions League, AstroTurf pitch up in the Arctic Circle. It's different to your average Premier League game. So I think he'll get there with the attack. I do think so. I think we just got to be a bit more patient, and he will start to get lineups as well. When we look at them, he'll get them a little bit more on point and get the right players in there for the right games.
All right, that is our player ratings. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of our player ratings, and we're going to end